I'm Dave Reaver. For the next hour, we're going to be presenting to you on video some of the most bizarre and unbelievable things that we have ever presented through television efforts.
Due to the graphic nature of this program, viewer discretion is advised.
Well, thank you and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this edition of the 700 Club. Daily, nearly moment by moment, young people are bombarded by distorted visual images and twisted music messages that are saturating their minds and, yes, sabotaging their futures. Just ahead, a special presentation for you, Satan's Targets.
How real is devil worship? Well, that's what my next guests will inform us. First, we have Dark Lord Blood. He's a 7th-generation Satanist. Satanic worship goes back to his great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. He grew up with this.
It's hard to get them to realize it's going on. The teachers are more cooperative because they will call. If they find notes or they hear something going on, they will call us. Our department is getting more involved in the last 8 or 9 months because we've been getting calls from people that said, we didn't know who to report these things to. There was like 7 or 8 large dogs, Dobermans, Shepherds, that had been killed and hung in a circle, their heads cut, blood drained. And the guy said, well, that happened 6 months ago, but we didn't know who to report it to.
You look at these dumpsters. See, this is how they talk to each other. Now, what you see here, this is gang graffiti, okay? And this is how gangs talk to each other, okay? But now this is how occultists talk to each other. This here is a psilocybin mushroom. So probably they had a psilocybin ritual, which is not uncommon. Occultists are known for using peyote and psilocybin.
Dark Lord Blood, I mean, you've seen these rituals. What is it?
Well, it's a ritual of they may want to give something in a sacrificial sense to a demon, you know, such as to mimic the biblical sacrifice of Abraham.
Well-organized satanic groups are creating a reign of death and destruction, which cannot be ignored.
In this metroplex, it's my estimate that there's approximately 40,000 practicing Satanists in the metroplex. That does not include pagan organizations, Druids, Wiccans, which are of the right-hand path of witchcraft, not the left-hand path. Dabbling in the occult in its various aspects in this metroplex would have to be over 100,000 individuals. Now that's a conservative estimate.
There are 3 general areas and levels of involvement in satanic occult worship. The first would be dabblers.
The dabblers, a half belief in Satanism or some serious interest.
Most teens involved in Satanism are dabblers. They wear the clothes, try a few rituals, and listen to the heavy metal bands.
I got interested about 4 years ago because a friend of mine up in Ohio, her son got involved and he tried to kill himself and kill his parents. And so I've been studying it since I came with the department. It's been about 1.5 years. I have noticed an increase around here with the teenagers.
What kind of things do you see?
Mostly your self-styled Satanists, your dabblers, drugs, heavy metal music, role-playing games, animal mutilations.
Some young people are attracted to the occult by seemingly harmless pleasures, such as games and music. They start by participating in fantasy role-playing games, like Dungeons and Dragons.
I have here something, for instance, which is not really good for kids to see. I don't know if you could see it.
Sure.
But what it essentially depicts is the devil whipping a priest, this kind of imagery.
What about playing lyrics backwards? Have the
Well, there are messages hidden in lyrics and things like that, you know, of that nature, sure. But, you know, the real thing, I think, is in the actual lyrics being played forward.
Others are drawn into Satanism by heavy metal rock music. These heavy metal groups flaunt satanic symbols on their album covers and anti-Christian satanic messages in their music.
Young people's imaginations have become the battlefield. Whatever gets their imagination gets their worship. Whatever gets their worship gets their heart.
The media bombards kids today with messages, many with satanic overtones.
Heavy metal groups and solo artists such as Slayer, Ozzy Osbourne, Motley Crue, Venom, and AC/DC have sent heavy metal record sales skyrocketing.
Invited to a party, he couldn't believe that it had happened to him. Well, how could someone so nice and someone so cool really wanna be his friend? You see, it started out just talking about power that comes from within. Soon pentagrams, satanic metal jams, and the evil to no end. 'Cause they're caught in the satanic web. And just like a spider, he has trapped them. They try to run and break free, but to no avail.
The sign of the horns is a hand signal given among members of the occult. Teenagers who flock to heavy metal concerts flash this sign often.
Most teenagers recruited into Satanism are boys, drawn by the violent images and rituals and by the fear they can cause in others. Yet without heavy involvement in drugs, most of these recruits would not be able to go on.
Most of the time, like I said, there's drugs involved. Just because you're taking drugs does not necessarily mean you're into Satanism. But 9 times out of 10, Satanists are into drugs.
Adolescents are ripe for satanic or occult involvement because of their maturing nature and developing sexuality. They feel a need to belong to a peer group structure, to be accepted or identified, and stand out among their associates and friends. Teenagers also tend to be impatient. They desire quick answers and the ability to cause instant changes. This eventually leads to rebellion against parental authority and social standards.
We've had notes written about Satan on walls in schools. You know, that my God's better than your God and all this. We had one note, you're welcome to a bloodbath ritual. Be there at 11:54 for the gatekeeper of hell to appear. Bring your set clothes or black sheets. This is what's going on in basically the schools. Usually, it's very secretive. As far as the kids go, you know, they don't know anything, they haven't done anything. Parents usually think, my kid just going through a phase.
When one or more of these warning signs are evident, you should look further for ritual items such as a pentagram or other satanic symbols, black or red robes, a decorative dagger or knife, a chalice or goblet, black candles, a personal diary with a black cover, which is called a Book of Shadows, and copies of publications, such as the Satanic Bible and the Satanic Rituals, and possibly a small makeshift altar. If you discover items such as these, experts advise you contact your local law enforcement agency at once.
Holy shit. Hello? Lady? Lady, are you okay? What's going on in here?
Shield me from all the
Lady?
bad and the good. Hail Satan. Hail Satan.
Lady?
Be good.
Rick, she's got a knife. Drop the knife!
When you do have to use your firearm, remember this acronym, SMENS.
Other symbols of Satan are the letters ACDC, which stand for Antichrist, Devil Child.
Do Satanists look different? I mean, are all your friends Satanists?
No, I don't have any friends, but my acquaintances are, yeah.
Uh-huh.
He wrote to Jimmy Breslin, "Hello from the gutters of New York City, which are filled with dog manure, vomit, stale wine, urine, and blood." These were direct references to the satanic black mass at which dog manure, vomit, stale wine, urine, and blood are used in a desecration of the Catholic Mass.
And the access to perform perverted sex acts, such as homosexuality, bisexuality, sodomy, bestiality, and necrophilia.
Now remember, all satanic people do not commit crimes. Some of their activities are perfectly legal. But there are some things that some Satanists do that lead to illegal behavior, and some of them seem rather innocent on the surface. Some of those things might be just simple vandalism or trespass. Cruelty to animals that might be detected through mutilations and sacrifice. Kidnapping, whether they're adults or children, or even kidnapping of animals.
It is common for these groups to kidnap their victims, usually infants and young children, from hospitals, orphanages, shopping centers, or off the streets. Others live and die without a trace. This is because some children are born to cult members and later killed, so there are no records of their births or deaths. Trespassing, vandalism, burglary, animal mutilations, trafficking and selling of illegal drugs.
Rape, molestation, child abuse, child sexual abuse that may be different than just harming a child, ritual abuse,
kidnapping, physical, mental, and sexual child abuse, rape, and murder.
And this kind of knife is being sold for that reason. There's something called an
But
empty.
it's also being sold for healthy reasons.
Man, what's healthy about selling a knife that's
arson, murder, which might include human sacrifice, or mass murders, or cannibalism, drug trafficking, sexual trafficking of children, corpse theft, cemetery vandalism.
Satanists entrap young people in several ways. At sex parties, they take snapshots of their victims for use of blackmail, or they'll involve the unsuspecting victim in their darkest rituals, perhaps animal or human sacrifice. They will get the teenager to offer his blood or even a finger to Satan. Blackmail and even outright threats keep a teenage victim in line. Some victims see suicide as their only escape.
Black market sales of bones and skulls. Black market baby selling. Pedophilia.
And this, of course, is, as this person wrote here, preparation for the human stew. Here, the brother is dismembered. He's already gone. He's in the stew. And the child, member of the cult, then herself is brought up to participate more. The adult leader is cutting the little girl and killing her ultimately as the child member inserts other objects into the little girl.
Pornography, torture, desecrating churches or other religious buildings, human slavery, weapons violations, suicides.
In the beginning, Satanists will entice a recruit with these three promises: power, drugs, and sex.
Disposing of animal parts, illegal entry into mortuaries and cemeteries, necrophilia, or having sex with dead people.
and he's growling, you know. So, I mean, people who growl kind of, I think one should be concerned about people that growl. But I just want you to know your growling doesn't frighten me at all.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad I wasn't attempting to.
The child touches his genitals or masturbates successively. The child touches or tries to insert fingers into his rectum.
area that's obvious in these kinds of ritualistic carvings would be the pentagram or the inverted pentagram on the right and the left side of the upper chest.
Some of Dr. Sloan's patients also speak of the terrors of Satanism. These pictures were drawn by adults remembering things they had long ago repressed, things done to them as children when they had been forced to take part in cult rituals.
All of these acts are carried out in the name of Satan. Therefore, the participants have no remorse after having committed them. The Satanic philosophy teaches that personal pleasure is the ultimate achievement, even at the expense of others. You should remember these important dates because they will coincide with numerous reports of abductions, missing persons, and ritual crimes.
He or she complains of vaginal, anal pain, burning when washed or when urinating or defecating.
The influence casts an alarming shadow over our culture. The potential exists to deceive a generation. This influence raises important questions. What will happen to the world if it loses its youth? What will happen to parents if they lose their children? What will happen to children if they lose their souls?
Thank you for being here. I'm Nola Roper, and this is the best talk in town. Ooh.
Overcoming this evil begins with every family. Parents must provide attention and love, protecting their children from corrupt influences, keeping the lines of communication open, and insisting on proper education. When this is accomplished, you can be confident that children will grow into happy, well-adjusted, and productive citizens, free from satanic and occultic influences.
Remember this acronym, SMENS.